Today's distraction is replanting this ficus lorata. It is a dwarf fiddle leaf tree. Fiddle leaf fig tree. She's behind the camera telling me what this is. LOL. And she named it Thorin, like Thorin Oakenshield from The Hobbit. So we're gonna replant him in something bigger so he can get a little bit bigger, because he can get to 3 feet tall. So he just needs a little bit bigger of a pot. So we're gonna do that today. Okay. Oh, and Bean's here. Whoops. Some old soil. To all my garden gurus out there, you can repurpose your soil with some fertilizer. Of course, if your plants are dying because of some weird disease, you definitely don't want to use the same soil that plant was in. But this is clean soil. It was laid out in the sun for a really long time, so it pretty much killed everything. So I'm just gonna use some of this, and I'm gonna mix it with some of my fertilizer and some of Epsom salt, and then he should be good. An indoor plant, so he doesn't. I don't think. So he doesn't get a whole lot of sun, and because of that, he doesn't need a whole lot of. He doesn't need a whole lot in his soil to like keep it moist or to have it drain, because he's really just an indoor plant. So. Use this to put all the soil in, and I'm gonna mix it all around and whatnot, so that I can incorporate everything that I need to in a bigger pot. And then if there's more left over, I'll just put it back in here after I replant Thorin. My mom's supposed to be helping me on this, but she's fiddling around. Fiddling, because it's a Fiddle Leaf Fig Tree. Anyways, she's fiddling around in the garden doing some stuff. We're gonna replant him in this to give his roots some room for growth. That way he can grow to his maximum height of 3 feet. Yeah, we can harvest some of the lettuce. Yep, so that's spicy and mild Asian mixed greens. Yeah. What red thing? I don't know, but they're all edible. Yeah. So this is my favorite all-purpose fertilizer. I know my channel's not really a garden channel, but gardening is one of my favorite hobbies, and it's my favorite way of, you know, it's one of my favorite refocusing activities, along with something that, you know, just gives me some joy in my day. So this is my favorite fertilizer. It's vegetable garden from Down to Earth. It's a 4-4-4, which basically means it's even in all nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. I always forget what the other P is. Anyways, I'm just gonna put like a nice little handful in there. It'll feed Thorin for a while. And I got some big rocks in here like this, just not broken up soil. So I won't put that in with Thorin because he doesn't need any of this stuff. So my mom read that Fiddle Leaf Fig Trees do not like nitrogen-rich soil. So, you know, I know that a lot of green trees, anything that has a lot of leafy greens, like your lettuce, your kale, anything like that, love nitrogen. Nitrogen is what makes them green. It's what makes the leaves bloom. So, you know, things like tomato plants, cucumber plants, things like those don't like nitrogen so much because they don't have you're not eating the leaves, you're eating their blossoms. And what helps things bloom is phosphorus. But my mom told me that this Thorin doesn't like nitrogen, so I'm not going to put any blood meal or anything high in nitrogen into the soil because he won't like it. He won't grow. I'm just filtering the soil. I would suggest not doing this on a windy day because I'm going to find dirt in my nose when I blow my nose later today, and it's gross. Okay. And then I'm just going to put some Epsom salt. So Epsom salt, along with being great in the bath, is also good for your plants. Don't get anything that has coconut oil in it or aloe vera. Just pure magnesium sulfate, which is Epsom salts. And you just want to go real light on this. It'll help give your plants that extra boost they're needing. So most fertilizers have magnesium sulfate in it. This will just add a little extra. So it looks like this. They look like little salts. I hope you guys can see that. It looks like little salt, but it's not. Don't eat it. It's not good for you. So I'm just gonna put like probably 2 little pinches in here because it's not a whole lot. But every single one of your plants can use Epsom salt. Every single one of your plants will love you for it. I lost my thing. This.
Oh. Nothing to do that?
So this Down to Earth is all natural. It gives you potassium, phosphate, and nitrogen in an all natural kind of way. So you're not going to be, your plants are not going to be fertilized with any sort of like chemical based fertilizers. This is things like alfalfa sprouts and blood meal and things that are all natural, come from the earth, that, you know, are healthy for your body. When you're growing your own food, you know, you're growing your own food for a reason, and the reason is to eat healthy, to know what you're growing, how it's grown. So fertilize all natural. All right. I think that's. So I always like to measure what I'm planting in. So like if I'm planting, replanting something into something bigger, I like to put the plant in to see how much. And you don't want to bury. So Thorin doesn't want to be buried past where he's at now, because it's not like tomatoes or things that will root out the further you bury them. Thorin will only root out where he's rooting right now. So you don't want to overbury him. You don't want to stick him further in the ground. Beans over here. That's what I'm looking at to make sure he's not running away. But so I just want to see how much I need to put into the bottom of this so I can put Thorin in and then bury him. So it's right about, if he's sitting at the top like this, he sits right about here. That's where the bottom of this pot is. So I'll fill up to right here. I am not going to have enough soil. So Thorin will fit perfectly into this right here. But now I need more soil. I did not estimate that. And you know what? That is part of my disability, not being able to appropriately measure the quantity of things. So
Spatial recognition.
yeah, I have trouble with spatial recognition. So I really did think that was going to all fit, but it clearly did not. So it's all right. Not like, life or death situation at the moment. Oh. Whoops.
You may have to fill the size.
Yeah. But that was this was less than okay.
But you only
Yeah. So I didn't because I didn't measure correctly. I have to refertilize. Thank you to my assistant mom. So the reason I think I like gardening so much is because I'm a tactile person. So this is going to be in another video about what kind of learner I am. But I've always been the kind of person that loves to like touch and feel. So like, when you used to make your own like putty or that gooey stuff with the slime. Like that was my favorite part of school, was like science, making your own goo, or arts where you got to paint or draw. Anything that I get to touch and I get to feel is something that I'm really, it makes me more interested in learning about it than something where I have to sit down and read or anything like that. But that's just the kind of learner I am. So gardening is one of those things where I can be a tactile learner. It's something where I can stick my hand in something, mix it around, feel everything. So I think that's why I really like gardening. Yeah.
Premiumbeat.com.
Alright. So I think I have enough. So I'm gonna take Thorin out. If you are replanting something that's like seedlings that you've seeded or anything like that, you want to get the soil wet before you replant or before you take it out of its pot. That way the soil it'll stay together, it'll stay intact. Thorin, on the other hand, I'll show you guys up close, but see how his roots are taking up the entire pot? You can see the roots right here and right here. So there's not a whole lot of soil left around his roots because the whole pot is basically his roots. So he was ready to be repotted. Of course, he'll survive no matter what. Even if you didn't repot him. So for all my Fiddle Leaf Fig Tree, dwarf or big, you don't have to repot your trees if you don't want to. You only want to repot, like in my mom's, for Thorin, she wants him to get bigger. So if you want your plant to get bigger, you can repot. Just know that the plant will only grow to the size of its living environment. I mean, it's the same with every living creature. It'll only grow to the size of its environment, of which it can sustain itself. So, we want Thorin to grow to at least 3 feet. A proper dwarf fig leaf tree dwarf height.
Nice. Perfect.
So he still kind of has a little room at the top. I could probably add just a tiny bit more soil to make him happy.
Premiumbeat.com.
Because once I get this, or my mom gets this pot wet, the soil will condense, it'll come together, and it'll actually become less tall than what it is. So right now it's hitting right about here on the inside. So once you get it wet, it'll probably move down to right about here. And don't worry about all this stuff falling out. Once everything shifts together, like once everything falls in to place in the pot, things will stop falling out at the bottom. So I'll just add a tiny bit more. I am not going to fertilize this stuff, only because if I fertilize this top stuff, it's just going to sink to the bottom where all the other fertilizer is. So there's like no point. So he's perfect. He is potted right about where his other pot was. It's a little above, and that's because again, when you water it, everything will sink down. But he's ready to go. So my mom can actually give him a nice water if she wants now, so that all the soil can come together. And then I think he should be ready to go. Should be a happy little guy. Yay, Thorin!